If I say Charlotte Mason Homeschool, many of you would probably picture sitting on the couch with your little ones beside you as you read aloud a children's classic book. But if I say Charlotte Mason High School, what image comes to mind? Perhaps you don't have a good grasp of what the high school years look like in a Charlotte Mason homeschool. Let me help you paint that picture. Welcome to the Simply Charlotte Mason podcast. I'm Sonia Schaefer. What does a Charlotte Mason high school look like? Well, as we discussed last time, a lot of what you've been doing throughout the elementary and middle school years stays the same. A Charlotte Mason education is beautifully consistent. The methods continue on, even as the material gets more and more challenging. One of the key elements that we discussed in the first episode of this series is the wide variety of subjects that we should offer all of our students, including during high school. Let's take a closer look at the curriculum. We hear that word curriculum used in many ways, but it simply means what will be studied. The main difference between choosing curriculum during the younger grades and choosing curriculum for high school is that other voices often have a say about what's studied in high school. Your state might have a list of requirements for graduation. If your student is headed to college, that college or university will have a list of requirements for admission. The good news is that because you are offering your students a wide variety of subjects anyway, you won't be facing a big curriculum change during the high school years. Let me show you a summary of the curriculum requirements that most states have for high school, and I will detail which Charlotte Mason subjects fit into each category. English Language Arts. This includes literature, spelling and grammar, composition, poetry, and Shakespeare. And then you have math, and this one I hope is self-explanatory. It usually covers algebra, geometry, and pre-calculus, sometimes called trigonometry. Calculus is often optional, and you can also include a personal finance course. Science is also self-explanatory. High school science usually includes biology, chemistry, and physics courses at least. Then you have history, also called social studies, and you will need both world history and U.S. history. Our new 4-year history cycle makes it simple to accomplish that requirement, by the way. And this category also includes geography, government, and current events. Then foreign language, which can include Latin as well as modern languages. Fine arts, here's where picture study, music study, singing, art instruction, and handcrafts fit in. Physical education, that refers to any regular physical activity, whether formal or informal. And then health. This one covers physical and mental health habits and personal development. There's also an electives category, which is where Bible lessons are usually listed. Now, you most likely recognize all of the Charlotte Mason subjects that fit into those categories. That wide variety of subjects is already part of your family's rhythms and school routines. You're just taking them to the next level of challenge for the high school years. And the resources that we publish and recommend for high school will help you to do that leveling up. Take a look at the curriculum guide at simplycharlottemason.com. You'll be able to see an overview of how the studies continue to add more challenge over the years, and you can see the specific resources that we recommend for each grade. I'll leave a link in the description. As many of you know, our curriculum is arranged into family work and individual work. Family work includes those subjects that are topic-based rather than skill-based. A topic-based subject can be done in any grade. It doesn't matter in which grade you study Rembrandt or the life of Christ. Those are topics. So the family work are the subjects that you can do with all of your students together. Here's a schedule for the family work. We like to keep an hour or so of family work going every day, all the way through high school. As you can see, some subjects are done every day, such as scripture memory, and some are done several days a week, as with history and Bible and foreign language. Many of the subjects are done only once a week: picture study, music study, nature study, and others. Now notice that these lessons are short. None is longer than 20 minutes. Those short, focused lessons keep the work within reach of any younger students you may have and provide that lovely variety that helps your students pay full attention without brain fatigue. But don't be fooled. Over your students' 4 years of high school, these lesson times will add up to complete courses. We'll talk more about those details in another episode. In addition to that hour of family work each day, your high school student will also have individual work to complete. In fact, most of the work for high school is done during that individual lesson time. This is the skill-based work that's done at grade level. Here's a schedule for that work. Now, right off the bat, you'll probably notice that the lesson times are longer. We do expect older students to have grown in the habit of attention and be able to focus for longer lessons. But there is still a nice variety. Math, science, and literature are done every day, but history, Latin, composition, geography, and Bible study, those are sprinkled here and there throughout the week. Some of these lessons are continuations from the family work. For example, that independent history work scheduled on day 1, day 3, and day 5, those are in addition to the family history work on those days that was shown on the previous chart. Your high school students will also have an extra geography lesson shown on day 4 that expands on what was covered in the family geography lesson earlier in the week. And the short foreign language reviews are related to the family foreign language lessons that are done together. So the two schedules are coordinated. But here's the main thing. Notice the total hours spent. The family work takes about 1 hour a day, and the individual work takes about 3 hours. So, not counting any breaks or household chores, your high school students' work should take about 4 hours a day. In Charlotte Mason's schools, lessons started at 9 a.m. and finished at 1 p.m. Now you, of course, have the freedom to decide when it works best for you and your students to do lessons. You can arrange your schedule around sleep cycles or employment or chores or co-ops. Just keep in mind that your high school students' work is going to take about 4 hours a day. Some of you might be wondering whether that's enough time to earn all of those necessary credits that they will need for graduation. After all, most of us were in school for 7 or 8 hours every day in high school. Well, the answer is yes. Doing about 4 hours of focused work each day, as laid out on that schedule, will earn all of the credits your students need. I'll leave a link to an episode that discusses that detail. I think the schedule that I used in that episode might be a little different from the one I showed you today, but it's pretty close. And I hope you know that the Charlotte Mason approach is not a one-size-fits-all system. You have freedom to customize your students' education. One great advantage we have as homeschoolers is being able to customize each student's education. You are free to change curriculum and courses and schedules to fit your students' needs. And high school is no exception. In fact, high school is prime time for encouraging your students in their unique situations and talents and interests. Yes, there may be some required courses, but even with those courses, you often have options. For example, you can choose which geography region to study and which history time period to focus on, keeping in mind that American history is a required element during high school. You could adjust which math or science courses your students work on and the speed at which those courses are tackled. You can select which literature books to read, which foreign language to learn, and which current events to discuss. Whenever possible, let your high school students have a say in what they want to study. Some courses might be required, either by state law or by college admissions expectations, and you might have certain courses that are non-negotiables in your own mind, but many fields of study are available and possible. So sit down with your high schoolers to look at the requirements and options, and let them make some decisions as they prepare for the future. One choice to consider might be whether to take advantage of dual enrollment classes or CLEP tests in order to earn college credit in high school. Now let me give you a little encouragement in this regard. You've been using living books and narration for many of your students' courses, but most college classes are going to use textbooks instead of living books, and standardized tests aren't usually in narration form. Does that mean your student won't be able to learn with those different methods? Put your mind at ease. Those living books have helped to preserve your students' curiosity and love for learning. Most likely, they will notice the difference in the type of book that they are now required to read for a college class, and they'll probably thank you for using living books. But they have developed the habit of full attention and best effort, and they have practiced a high level of reading comprehension. Those skills will serve them well. In fact, they've been using a higher thinking level by doing narrations. So it shouldn't be an issue to shift to a lower thinking level and do fill-in-the-blank or multiple choice questions. What they might need help with is figuring out what each professor wants, learning how to jump through the hoops of those different rules and expectations that so often come in classroom settings. But rest assured, you are not raising a student who can learn only with living books. Those books are the best ones to use, but your students have learned how to self-educate, and they can use those practices in any setting. Another wonderful way to customize your high schoolers' years is by encouraging them to explore their personal interests. Since their high school work requires only about 4 hours a day, that allows time for them to pursue apprenticeships and internships, or working at their own business ventures or in someone else's business. This is the perfect time to test the waters, if you will, and see if a particular interest increases with a closer look, or if the joy starts to fade when that passion becomes a job. Either discovery is important, and discovering it sooner rather than later can be a big benefit to your teens. So also consider ways that your students can explore and learn from local experts in various fields of their interests. Now let me tell you about a wonderful book just published this year. Their Future is Shining Bright by Rachel Kovac. Rachel has done all of us a great service in gathering into one place an abundance of valuable help and grace-filled encouragement for customizing your high school students' years. What I really appreciate is that Rachel speaks from a Charlotte Mason approach and demonstrates how you can guide your students through the more rigorous high school courses while keeping a balance with those soul-nourishing and relationship-building family studies, and honoring each student as a unique person. That's a rare combination to find in one book. Rachel walks through her high school experiences with her oldest 2 children, revealing what they all learned along the way and how important their family rhythms and discussions were. She also includes current, up-to-date practical help, such as where to find out about what's available in your state and how to apply to colleges, a checklist of what to do each year for college-bound students, and, I love this one, 265 career paths and certification ideas that don't require a 4-year college degree. It's an excellent, valuable resource that so many of you will find extremely helpful and encouraging. I'll leave a link in the description. Most of the 3 hours of individual work at the high school level is assigned to your students to do independently. Are they ready for that? Next time, we'll talk about how to set your students up for success with independent work. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.